So I'd like to start off explaining the differences between an atheist and an agnostic. Over the years, I've seen all these videos of preachers and different people changing the minds of atheists to now showing them there's God. Now, I'd like to suggest, if you are convinced from a conversation with someone that a God exists, I would suggest you're actually, in fact, an agnostic. You're not really an atheist. You were never really an atheist. You were just convinced maybe you were an atheist. Let me explain. An atheist is someone who doesn't believe a God exists, and an agnostic is someone who doesn't know whether they believe a God exists or not. Now, here's a difference I want to add to it. There's something I want to add that will actually clarify specifically the differences, make the distinction. An atheist is someone who doesn't actually believe anything supernatural exists also. And an agnostic is someone who doesn't know whether they believe something supernatural exists or not, or in fact may actually believe supernatural things do exist. So if you're in the realms of believing something supernatural may exist, you just don't know, or you do know, or whatever it is, whatever is convincing you that maybe something exists, or convincing you that something does exist, supernatural, you really just don't know. You are agnostic. Now, if you're in that realm, you also don't believe a God exists. Whatever has you unknown about believing, or known about believing in anything supernatural, can also have you known or unknown about believing in God. Because there's no actual tangible evidence for either or. There's no tangible evidence you can provide me that shows me, here's a supernatural thing that actually exists, and we can prove it. And you can't do that with God. So whatever's having you can be swayed this way, it can also have you swayed that way, whatever it is. So if you believe something like that, you are likely to be convinced that God exists. If you're an atheist, you will not be convinced unless you have a lab or tangible evidence of any sort. If you're a real atheist, you will be demanding these things. You will say, I want to see it over and over again, tested in the lab, proven to me. And only then maybe you will be convinced a God actually exists. You may think, if you're an atheist, that doesn't prove it's actually God, maybe it's something else or whatever. But these are the extremes a real atheist will actually have to go through to be convinced a God actually exists. So that is the difference between an atheist and an agnostic. And that's all for now.